Yo, what's going on, everybody? Hey, this is your boy JC from JC Sports Talk, and today I have with me a special guest, Mr. Robbins, senior host of SI Now. And believe me, if you're not following him, you would want to follow him. I listen to him, and he keeps it 100, regardless what any topic. Hey, whether you like it or not, he keeps it 100. So without further ado, please introduce yourself real quick and just let them know a little bit about you.
Yeah, Robin Lundberg is the name. Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Rob R to the OB. No, you can follow me on Twitter at Robin Lundberg. My full-time job is with Sports Illustrated. I do a daily show called SI Feed there. I do a bunch of other videos and the like, some columns and stuff for SI as well. And then you can catch me on the radio, mostly with Mad Dog Radio, Sirius XM right now.
All right, so hey, real quick, man. Look, the biggest news of the day so far, besides the NFL, is this: baseball is back. You know what I mean? Hey, I'm a Braves fan. A lot of people are Phillies fans, and look, Twitter is blowing up right now. Baseball is back. Thank you, guys. This and that. So, how do you feel about this whole baseball being back? And I mean, was it ever in doubt that this season was going to be a fruition?
Yeah, I don't think it was ever in doubt, really. I mean, look, it's always in doubt when there's a collective bargaining agreement up because there can be people who get stuck in their positions, right? And that happens. We've seen it on a few occasions where a strike impacted the World Series, or even with the lockout in the NBA, and they didn't start till Christmas. But almost always,
Yeah.
this is the same story. It's like this side hates this side. They're not getting anywhere. Fake deadlines expire because what is the actual deadline? It's not like opening day was happening and it missed. It was them saying this is when we have to get it done by, right? So it's posturing. And the only people who really suffer are the hardcore fans. And the hardcore fans are always going to be back. Sorry. Like for me, I didn't care at all. It's boring. I don't want to hear them, what percent they're getting or what. I don't give a. So I figured they would get it worked out and they'd have an opening day. Maybe it would get delayed a week. That doesn't affect my life. Why do people like opening day? Because the weather gets nice. I get why hardcore baseball fans are excited, though, because it's like a good buddy returning. 162 games.
It's a long time.
It's like that's half the year your team plays.
Yeah, facts. Hey, I agree with you, man. I mean, hey, I always knew that baseball was going to come, like sooner or later. But at the same time, it's like 182 games, but now it's 162 games. I'm like, okay, 20 games missed. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it because not it cuts into other football, basketball seasons that's about to come anyway. So, and a lot of times I don't get into baseball until like after the All-Star game. Who's in the hunt? Who's in the race? Who's going to win their division and stuff like that. So, hey, I'm glad that baseball is back. Now I can stop just going on Twitter and, people talking about baseball is not back yet. It is what it is. So, look, the NBA, man, like the NBA this year, to me, going into the season, a lot of talk about the Nets, the Lakers going, the clash of the Titans. And now it's like the Nets are in 8th place. The Lakers are struggling in 9th place. What is your thought this year on the NBA season?
Look, I think you're right. There are more than a handful of teams that can win it, which is probably more than you would say in a typical year. I never bought the Lakers hype for this season, just because they don't have a good team. They don't have a good roster. LeBron's 37 in his 19th season. So, it's tough to expect him to just carry a team at the level that he maybe once did. Anthony Davis and LeBron, if they were together, they'd have a better record. But beyond those two guys, they don't have any good players. Like, it's LeBron, it's AD, no other good players. And so it was bound to happen. No shooting to surround LeBron with, which is good. A bad fit with Westbrook, and then scrubs. So that's why the Lakers are where they're at. As far as the Nets go, the Nets season has been a little bit of Murphy's Law, where anything that can go wrong will go wrong. It's not like the Nets
facts.
stuck, right? But Durant missed half the season. Kyrie can't play in half the games.
Yeah.
Joe Harris has been out for the entire season.
Yeah.
Essentially, they had the whole team caught COVID. All these things have sort of. They were at one point first in the conference, and then James Harden, that situation. Ben Simmons hasn't even made his debut yet. I still think it may be too late for the Nets to get it together by the end of the season, just because they haven't all been together, and they're a hypothetical team until they're all on the floor, but they're still dangerous. You can still see the Lakers cannot win the championship. They're not going to win the championship. They're done. Yeah. The Nets could still win the championship if Ben Simmons comes back healthy. Kyrie gets cleared to play home games. Lots of ifs again, but that's still a scenario because they're going to sit in the playing game and nobody wants to play them. Beyond that, of course, the Bucks could repeat. The Heat are very good this season. The Celtics are looking pretty good right now. The Sixers obviously get James Harden. The Bulls have had a better season. That's just the Eastern Conference, which is stacked. And in the West,
exactly,
the Suns are, I think, the clear favorite out West. I think the East is better than the West. But there's a couple of teams, the Nuggets, do they get healthy? Could the Clippers get Kawhi and Paul George back before the playoffs? So there's a lot of teams that are live to at least make some noise, and then at least a handful who could win the whole thing.
So who's your biggest surprise team this year so far? I mean, besides the the Lakers and the Nets, whatever, but who came out of nowhere that you didn't even see coming this year, and now you like, oh my God, hey, they're better than I thought. Either the East or the West. The Cavs, I have to agree.
The Cavs, I would have never thought the Cavs would ever. I'm still. I look at the standing. I was like, I know the Nets are way behind. I'm like, could the Nets beat the Cavs? Are the Cavs going to fall apart like at the end here? Because it just feels like way too good. But yeah, they would definitely be Cleveland. That would be the team that has surprised the most. They have some nice little pieces there, but I'm trying to think if there's another team that's even on that same level. I don't. The Bulls have had a better record.
I thought the Bulls was, because nobody expect like DeRozan, really? I'm like,
I thought the Bulls would be good. Though. I thought the Bulls would be good, but I thought they'd be like 5th in the East, right? Good, not like not where they're at, but I didn't expect the Cavs to be in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I'm with you. So who's your MVP right now? If the season would be over right now, who is your MVP of the NBA?
I mean, there's really a lot of guys who have almost the same case. Joel Embiid, Nikola Jokic, Giannis again. Outside of that, it's probably those three, right? I mean, and maybe Luka could make a late run at it, and DeRozan. You mentioned DeRozan.
Yeah,
I would go with, just because I think Harden's going to play the rest of the year for the Sixers. I'd probably go with Giannis, honestly, again, but Giannis or Jokic would be my pick, I think.
Okay, so I mean, the biggest story coming into the NBA season was Ben Simmons. Is he gonna play? Obviously, he took a stand. He didn't play, and then the Sixers and Nets made a trade. Who do you think is better off? And does that make the Sixers a favorite to win the championship with by adding a James Harden to their roster?
The favorite, no, but it puts them in the mix. Yeah, I mean, Philly, they have Maxey now too, who's played really well.
Yes, he's been balling.
Yeah, I mean, Harden obviously wants to play for them, which makes a difference with him and how he's looked. But Embiid and Harden is a tough duo to stop. Do I think it? They're not like a cut above Milwaukee or Brooklyn. I think if Brooklyn's healthy and out there, and the Heat are tough. But yeah, I mean, the Sixers could definitely come out of the East, could definitely win the whole thing.
Okay. I mean, I guess, we are going to get into the NFL, by the way. And I guess, this is perfect transition. Like, I don't know how true that is. It says Khalil Mack went to the Chargers.
Yeah,
I'm not really sure.
He just got traded from the Bears to the Chargers. Yeah.
What? Oh, man. Okay. So, this is a perfect transition. All right. This past 48 hours been crazy. Like, how do you feel about the whole Rodgers, Wilson, Wentz, and now Khalil Mack. I mean, is this the beginning of the most shocking offseason like there is in the NFL? I've never seen so much craziness with the contracts. And then Kyler Murray, and he said, hey, he needed a new contract before the draft now. I mean, it's crazy. So is this the most crazy offseason you have seen? And like, what do you expect moving forward?
I think we've seen the craziest stuff, right? Like, that you're not going to get more nuts, I don't think, than Russell Wilson getting traded. And Rodgers, because there was so much drama around him. That was that was a story. But his ultimate destination was no big deal. Staying with Packers, that didn't shake things up. The Wilson one was like, whoa. Russell Wilson got dealt, and now Khalil Mack getting dealt. Any trade is kind of exciting. But yeah, the AFC West is stacked now. I mean, not just the QB, but the Chargers now can get after the quarterback with Bosa, Joey Bosa paired with Mack.
Oh man, I mean that is a big news because like I feel like once Russell Wilson went to the AFC West, that maybe some other people will follow him. Maybe a Von Miller, maybe a Bobby Wagner, but we'll see because I mean I'm loving this so far. So we'll see what happens. So all right, so free agency is about to start. Like, as a matter of fact, the tempering period is in 5 days on Sunday. Like, what are some big stories are you waiting for? Like, who's the next big guy to be gone? And like people like, oh my God, another one. Like, who is on your wish list? Like, go ahead and go to this team, a surprising team.
For the NBA free agency.
No, the NFL.
Oh, we're still in NFL free agency. Kyler Murray is the interesting one who's like still up in the air. I think he winds up back with the Cardinals though. As far as it's quarterbacks. That's what we care about, right?
It is.
So
yeah.
What are the Colts going to do at quarterback now that they traded Wentz? How are they handling that position? The Commanders, I guess, filled what they thought was their need there. Cute Pittsburgh. That's another
Pittsburgh. Yeah.
Who's going to be the starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers? That's probably, I would say, the most intriguing question. Teams that were good, but not great, like the Steelers and the Colts, and who's going to be quarterback in those teams.
Okay, so I mean, do you see? I mean, I've heard that the Pittsburgh Steelers are very, very close to getting a deal done for Deshaun Watson. Depending on what happens tomorrow. But we'll see. So do you feel like what's the perfect fit for Deshaun Watson? And do you think who will be the team to trade for him?
That's tough because on talent, he fits a lot of places. But I don't know, how much truth there is to those rumors because I've heard a lot of them. The Dolphins were close, and then another team was close for a long time. So I think there are so many different women who have come forward in that. There's the legality of it. Is it something that's going to affect him from a legal standpoint? Is it then, if it's not something that's going to affect him from a legal standpoint, is it something that the NFL is going to come in and discipline for? So until that question is resolved in one way or another, his off the field situation is resolved in some way, I actually don't know if we see a deal go down because what team is offering what the Texans would want back in return without that settled?
I mean, Russell Wilson just had 2 firsts and 2 seconds. Man, I'm afraid to hear what the Texans are asking for because Russell Wilson is 33. Watson is like 26, maybe. So, man, if he could go for 2 firsts and 2 seconds. I'm afraid that because the Texans were going to be asking for so much that he might be stuck, with the Texans for a while. So who knows? But look, Jalen Hurts. I'm an Eagles fan, so I had to ask this question, right? He was the Philadelphia Eagles quarterback last year. His first real year starting. So do you see him as the Philadelphia Eagles starter this upcoming season? And what do you think his ceiling is?
Yeah, I think he's the starter. I think he earned that. And like you have to have another option if it's not going to be Jalen Hurts. His ceiling, one thing about Hurts is he'll continue to get better. We've seen that. Like the guy that is quarterbacking now is significantly better than the guy that was benched at Alabama. And the guy that even we saw last year, and his ability to run has helped him. He's improved as a passer. He still has to get a lot better as a passer. Now, ultimately, is his arm, his arm strength, accuracy, is that going to hold him back? It might. He just might not be talented enough in that area. But as of right now, he's clearly a starting quarterback in the NFL. I think, Pro Bowl is not that hard to make nowadays. That could be something in his future. He's good fantasy.
He was the alternate, though. He wasn't an alternate this year.
He's got a good head on his shoulders. That's for sure, too. So, I mean, I like Jalen Hurts, and he's good enough to win a lot of games. The question is, when you get to the playoffs, that's what the Eagles saw. The Eagles had a nice season. They got to the playoffs. They didn't really belong there. And, is he able to get good enough to overcome the defenses focusing on him? That's a question.
All right. So if you're Philadelphia Eagles outside looking in, what would your focus be going into this draft? You said that, hey, they might keep Jalen Hurts. So what would your focus be, just knowing that, hey, I got my quarterback? So I don't know how much Eagles game have you watched, but what would your focus be going into this draft and free agency if you are the Philadelphia Eagles?
Well, look, I think an edge rusher, your most important thing you can have is a player that is the quarterback. And then I think beyond that, it's probably protecting the quarterback and getting after the quarterback. But I would say, a real dominant sort of pass rusher. That's probably the thing that I haven't kind of seen from them. But, you can address multiple spots on that defense, I think. Safety, linebacker, and then a playmaking wide receiver. A guy who maybe a big target that, Jalen Hurts is rolling out all the time. Who can he just trust to be open all the time? Or I'm giving you the ball. When in doubt, I'm putting it your way.
Yeah, I mean, so who's your NFC East? Carson Wentz came back home, I guess, in the NFC East. And with that being said, do you feel like the Washington Commanders, did the right decision by trading for Carson Wentz?
It's neither here nor there, right? I mean, it's like the Taylor Heineke. It was not the answer. Is Carson Wentz the answer? I think the most alarming thing for Carson Wentz is that Frank Reich gave up on him. That was supposed to be his guy. So that tells me, I'm not so sure. Otherwise, I mean, look, there aren't. If the Russell Wilson trade didn't come through for you, again, there aren't just like everybody always says, go get a guy. There aren't that many guys to just get it. Hard.
Exactly.
Deal with the options that are on the table. So I don't hate the move for Washington. I just don't feel any differently about them.
So 2 more questions for you. All right. So do you feel like this is Carson Wentz's last stop? If he don't pan out, especially when Frank Reich gave up on him, the Eagles swallowed $33 million in cap space. The Washington Commanders just traded for $28 million. So they might be stuck with him. So do you feel like this is his last stop? If he don't pan out in Washington, he's either out of the league or a backup quarterback moving forward.
Yeah, I don't think he's out of the league. But yeah, a backup quarterback. I think this is his last chance as a starter. I'll put it that way. He's not going to go somewhere else and be a starter. But he's not also going to be out of the league either. I mean, unless he's super problematic in the locker room, he's not going to be out of the league.
I posted something on Twitter today. I feel like that Carson Wentz might retire. He reminded me of Andrew Luck. With the injuries, mentally, he got just tired of rehabbing and stuff like that, just coming back and getting beat up and getting injured. So I said that Carson Wentz, I have a gut feeling that he might retire. He might just swallow that $28 million and say, hey, you know what? Hey, He's a big Christian type of guy. He believed in his faith. So if he prays and say, you know what, hey, this ain't for me no more, especially going back to the NFC East, facing the Philadelphia Eagles twice a year, and then he's mentally weak because that's why he actually, lead the Philadelphia Eagles. I feel like that he might retire before next season starts. I mean, we've seen some young guys in the NFL retire over the past couple of years because of mental health issues. So hey, I don't know what might happen. My last question is this: your gut feeling. Who is playing in the NBA? Who is playing in the championship, and who do you think will win it?
I mean, I honestly don't know right now. Phoenix would have to be my pick out west. They've been the best team all year. I think the Clippers have the most dangerous team outside of that, but that would require Kawhi Leonard and Paul George to be on the floor. We don't know about that. So I'd say Phoenix in the West. I still think Brooklyn has the best roster. But Ben Simmons hasn't even played a game.
Nope.
Kyrie Irving's situation isn't resolved. I can't pick them knowing that they're in the play-in game, knowing that you can't count on those guys completely. So then it comes down to probably Milwaukee and Philly for me at that point. You got an Eagles hat on. I'll go with the Sixers.
But I'm a Nets fan, though. I'm from South Jersey. I'm from South Jersey, so a South Jersey or Eagles fan.
I still think the Nets have the best roster.
Yeah, I mean, I feel you because I feel like, hey, the Nets, yes, they are probably going to be in the play game, but nobody wants to see KD and Kyrie, especially them being such a low seed. They are going to start off on the road. KD's going to play, Kyrie's going to play, and who knows? Ben Simmons might play, Steph Curry, Andre Drummond. I mean, and your bench is freaking Aldridge and Patty Mills and Kim Thomas. This bench is deep. So, hey, we'll see. But I feel like that this is wide open, but non-biased. I am a Nets fan, but I'm about to be non-biased. I feel like this is Philly year. If it's a make or break year for them, either this year or next year, but they have to win a championship or this little trade.
Yeah, that was a trade.
Yeah. I mean, it's a trade for now, but long term, I feel like that the Nets, when they could get their act together, won this trade. I mean, who you think of won this trade? Philly or the Nets? Because that's a big old argument between the Philly and the Nets fans.
I think both teams got better. Look, the Nets had the salvage of the situation. Yeah. They had traded what they traded for James Harden, and if it had continued to deteriorate and they lost him and didn't recoup, they would have been in trouble. And Ben Simmons fills some gaps for them. They also got some role players who help out. In the meantime, Ben Simmons wasn't even playing for the Sixers. So they added, essentially Philly traded James Harden. Right now, Philly traded James Harden for Seth Curry and Andre Drummond. Yeah. And that's a win. So, that's, but I think both teams did well in the trade.
Yeah, and look, I agree. I mean, I've been telling people the exact same thing. I feel like that Philly addressed the Brooklyn Nets need in a big man in the middle, even though it's for this year only. But hey, it's a year-to-year league. And you don't know who's going to get the lucky bounce, who's going to be injured. But Philly gave the Nets a interior presence in Drummond, some more shooting and Steph Curry for when Kyrie can't play. So I say, hey, it's a win-win situation. But the Sixers, they don't want to hear that. The Sixers fans don't want to hear that. They say, hey, we got James Harden, even though I feel a little bit different. But look, I really, really appreciate you, man, taking the time out your day, to come on here, to chat it up with me. Baseball, NBA, football. Hey, look, I love it all, man. So any last words? And just let them know what you're working on and where they could find you at early in the mornings and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think the best way, follow my Twitter, which is right there. I post, most of the stuff I'm doing, and check out si.com, SI social pages, and look out for me on the radio as well.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man. Hey, as always, go Birds.
All right.